tackled David's seed. We've tackled the idea born of a woman, and now we need to talk about brother of the Lord and James.
The key thing is for people to be aware that there's a passage in 1 Corinthians 9 where Paul lists certain people who have a privilege that he's supposed to have himself. And he says the apostles, Peter as the supreme apostle, and the brothers of the Lord. And so the question is, who were the brothers of the Lord? The one that most people focus on is Galatians 1:19, where he says, James, the brother of the Lord. Well, okay, do we mean the James who is the biological brother of the Lord, or is it some other kind of brother of the Lord? So the debate comes around that. What does that mean?
Right.
So in the last 10 years since my original publication, there have been a flurry of studies all coming to the same conclusion that all Christians saw themselves as brothers of the Lord. They all believed that they were adopted sons of God, and therefore they're the brothers of Jesus. And so this idea is no longer just me. It's, you know, basically practically the whole field of people who are specifically looking at this question. And Paul is specific about the entire concept of salvation is based on this principle. It's not just an idle, like extra add on, it is fundamental to the faith. He never once talks about biological brothers of Jesus. He never mentions them existing. He never talks about, oh, there's this other kind of brother that are biological. He doesn't say brothers in the flesh. And this is important because he does do this on a different occasion when he says, my brethren, the Jews. So he says, my brethren in the flesh, who are the Jews. So he knows he has to make, when he says brethren, he says, okay, I got to be clear here. I don't mean brothers of the Lord. I mean like biological inherit, like my biological brothers, distantly, because it's a racial category.
Yeah, of course.
So in Galatians 1:19, and he just throws out the line, James, the brother of the Lord. Well, why wouldn't he specify in the flesh to say, like, I mean, by the way, I don't mean just any brother of the Lord, like we're all brothers of the Lord. I mean specifically brother in the flesh, right? Or something clear that he's being very specific that James is not an apostle, the one that he met there. This is James the brother. So it's just a rank and file Christian, a baptized Christian. He's specifying I meant that particular James, not the other James, which he talks about in Galatians 2. He says that James is the high ranking pillar. He's an apostle. So he's saying James the pillar versus James the brother. He's distinct telling you that these are two different Jameses that he's talking
Okay.
about. So it's basically this kind of dogma that the field is trying to defend, and they're not willing to admit it. And this is most clear in one scholar that he says, there's 122 references to brothers in the letters of Paul, and they're all fictive, except two. And he says, these two passages, but he gives no reason to believe that those are exceptions. So all the others are fictive. Why would these be different? Like, he doesn't give any reason why to believe that. It's just a dogma.
I see what you're saying. And again, you personally would be like, look, based on all these other fictive kinship that we all see, and the fact that he can dichotomize between of the flesh and not of the flesh,
Yeah, and the grammar of the passage.
it's better to just say we're not like,
Yeah.
don't be so confident. If anything,
Exactly, and that's
we're
again,
right.
remember, I'm still counting this 2-to-1 in favor of historicity, so I'm still granting the argument for historicis. I'm just saying it's weak. And so it's another one of those pillars. It's a wobbly pillar. It's a weak pillar.